We spend the next 20 minutes or so savoring our meals, and while we are eating, I can't help but notice the fact that the sky is particularly dark today, without even a small glimpse of sun being visible through the clouds covering it. There's going to be a storm coming soon, I can feel it. Once we're done with the food, Melindra and I begin to dismantle my tent while Flower goes to see what the others are doing. Hold on, let me get my backpack out, Melindra tells me as she goes inside the tent. Alright, I say, your backpack was in there too. When did you manage to sneak that in anyway? I flew it over you with my wind magic while you were still asleep, Melinda says as she pulls her backpack out of the tent. Okay, I'm done. Let's get to work. We both spend the next few minutes dismantling the tent, and once we are done, I go to give Hardrick his tent back while the others are preparing for a departure. Kids still look upset, but Darren looks like he might already have gotten over what happened earlier this morning. Once we are all ready to go, Melinda takes the lead, and we all begin to follow her as we walk along the river's bank just like yesterday. Not long after we start walking, Hardlick pulls me over to the back of the group so we can have a short conversation with me in private. So listen, Barry, he says as we both slowly follow the group from a distance. I know that I laughed in your face this morning and everything, but I just want to tell you that I wasn't actually making fun of you. I'm actually quite impressed. I mean, you knew full well what it would mean to do what you did, considering how many people dislike Melindra in our group. And you went and did it anyway, and for a whole night no less. It's like... It's like you didn't even care if you got caught or not. It takes guts to do that kind of thing, and I can respect that. Just wanted to clear things up. Thanks, I tell her. Not sure how else to respond to this little speech. I don't understand why they're so mad. Like, honestly, like, I mean, think of it this way. If there was, like, someone, because the group does not like someone, right? And you fuck that someone, now it's an issue now. Like, is it that big of an issue now? Like, that's fucking weird. That is fucking weird. It's like if you were a team, right, and you work with an employer or something, and now like the boss is like really rude and shit like that, and now like you know, one of the employees after the team goes and fucks the boss. Now it's a problem now. Like, I mean, that's just fucking weird. That's like, honestly, it's a little weird, their behavior. It's not completely weird, but it's kind of weird, especially when he puts it that way, that everyone dislikes Melindra and shit like that. Thanks, I tell him, not sure how else to respond to his little speech. Should I have not saved there? Maybe I need to go back on that decision, maybe not. We'll see in the ideal playthrough. Ideal playthrough is our main playthrough anyway. I'm probably not going to continue with the romance stuff anyway, because it's going to take like insanity amounts of time to do all that. We'll see how this goes. Maybe after I'm done with the entire Magium, maybe then we'll look into the Rose timeline and whatnot, and the other timelines as well, if I can remember honestly, but we'll see. Where were we? Thanks, I tell him, not sure how to respond to his little speech. Alright, glad we had this chat, Harik says. He pats me hard on the back. Don't worry about the others, I'm sure they'll loosen up soon enough. With these last words, he goes to catch up with the rest of the group, and I still follow him as well. We travel in a straight line for the next hour or so, while every once in a while we see one or two mages who are too busy to take notice of us by filling their backpacks with pine cones as if their lives depended on it. What do you guys suppose they're doing? Hardrick asks us as we walk past two mages that are busy collecting pine cones. Shouldn't they just be checking to see if the pine cones light up in their hand? Or would they go out their way to actually collect them? Maybe they found the detector and they're taking the pine cones to it. Maybe they're planning to take them to one of the sages. They're trying to go over quantity over quality. It's more than likely that. Let's see, maybe they're trying to go for quantity over quality. You mean they're just going to dump all these all these cones on the tournament organizer's doorstep and expect to pass to the next round? Ardrick says. They couldn't be that stupid, could they? Who knows, I say. It's not like the rules said anything about not bringing regular cones with you. If you take this into consideration, that might not be such a bad idea after all. But whatever the reason, Darren says, there's at least one thing that we can be certain of. There's a fact that in some way or other, these people managed to figure out the fact that they can't make the pine cones light up by themselves. They still don't know that the pine cones can only be found in the sacred forest, Melindra says. Otherwise, they wouldn't be wasting their time around these parts. As long as they don't have this crucial piece of information, they still have a long way to go until they can complete their objective. To be honest, what worries me the most right now has nothing to do with those mages gathering pine cones, Darren says. Look at the sky. It's only been getting darker since we woke up this morning. We're feeling that there will be a storm coming soon. Of course, some major event has to happen the day I'm fucking tired. Barry is not gonna have a good time, let's just say. Do you get storms often in Varathia? Hardrick asks Flower. No, they're pretty rare, Flower says, but when you do get one, it tends to be rather nasty, especially in the summer. In that case, we better watch out for the falling tree, Darren says. Also, we should expect to get soaked to the bone once it starts pouring, or we're going to have to take a break or to dry up near a fire afterwards. I could make an ice dome to protect us from the storm, Kate says, and I could make little balls of fire to spin around us, make us dry. Flower says, there is no need to light an actual fire for that. There is no need to light an actual fire for that. Yes, but I think it might be better for you two to conserve your magical energy, Darren says. There's no telling when we'll be meeting another one of Tyrant's elite monster groups, so we should always be ready for them. I really doubt that we'll be meeting another one of Tyrant's elite groups anytime soon, Mulder says. Not like they grow on trees or anything. He can't afford to spend all his finest warriors after just one group of mages. By the time we'll be seeing them again, we'll probably already be going to WoW. Melinda suddenly stops in her tracks as if she just about to hit something, and then she begins to study an empty area in front of her very carefully, with the rest of us gathered around her trying to understand what she is doing. Are you seeing something here? There? Hardrick says, confused, as she tries to touch the empty area with one of his hands. No, don't touch it, Melinda shouts as she continues to inspect the area. Still don't know what the spell actually does yet. A spell, Darren says, here in this area, but I can't sense anything. It's one of Aiden's spells, Melinda says. It's designated to remain hidden from the people without a keen enough magical sense. I can tell that it's been cast by him from the aura signature, but I can't tell what it's supposed to do. It must be some sort of spell that he designed himself, although I'm not familiar with it. Oh yeah, I remember seeing the spell in plenty of other places to the... What? Oh yeah, I remember seeing this spell in plenty of other places in the past week, Araka says. Aiden must have been casting it all over the continent since he came back here. He's probably still doing it as we speak. Casting complicated spells like this takes a lot of time and concentration. What does it do? Kate asks. How should I know? Araka says. It's not like that I'm some spell research. I can't tell what a spell as complex as this does just by looking at it, but there's one thing that I can tell for sure, is that the spell is waiting to get triggered by something, whatever that is. Could this have anything to do with that calamity that Aiden spoke of, Adric asks? Or maybe with the Lasetti. Maybe they're all bombs that are meant to explode when they detect a Lasetti nearby. When she hears this, Layla suddenly takes a few steps back from the area that Melinda is inspecting. When Hardrick continues, I'd say it's pretty clear by now that Aiden and the Lasetti aren't exactly best buddies. He told Barry to deliver that threatening message to them. From what I can understand, he's killed a bunch of them in the still winter, so it's not like he'd need any special reason to kill more of them now. What are you babbling about? Melinda says as she's still concentrating on analyzing the hidden spell. Aiden never killed any Lasetti during the still winter. He took their side. Did what? Hardrick says. Oh, Melinda says she suddenly realizes what she's done. I don't think I should have told you that. Wait, so Aiden fought against the still waters in the still winter? Darren says. Oh yeah, he killed plenty of them during that time. Araka says. Almost as much as me. What do you mean? Kate says. Weren't you the leader of the still waters during the still winter? Oh no, Araka says. Therius was their leader. I was just fused with him, and the two of us weren't exactly friends. We tried to take over the body from each other constantly, but the most hilarious thing happened when he had to go to sleep for the first time. There was no way for him to stop me from taking over his body anymore, so I wreaked havoc all throughout the camp. Those idiots tried to kill me along with him, but I squashed them like a bug. I still left half of them alive though, so that I could play some fun games with them. You should have seen Therius's face when he woke up to see the dead bodies of his friends, and the funniest part was that none of his friends would ever follow him of their own free will after that, so he had to lead them through fear and intimidation from that moment onwards. Oh man, those were the days. What triggered the Stillwinter? Kate asked. Why were the Lasetti and the Stillwaters at war with each other, and why wasn't Aiden on the side of the Stillwater? Are you seriously asking? Do you seriously think I was paying attention? Araka says. I only just told you that I massacred half of my own army in one night. It's not like I cared to hear the reason for going to war. And I'm guessing Melindra won't be revealing that information to us either, Darren says. I've said too much already, Melindra says. I promised Aiden long ago that I wouldn't give anyone any important details about the Stillwinter. I intend to stick to that promise. Right, Darren says. Anyway, since I can't really tell what this spell is supposed to do, I recommend avoiding it for now, Melinda says. There's no telling what could trigger it. So we should, I mean, I kind of want to touch it now. Come on, it's like a big red button. You could it's just like, and it's a big red button right there. How do I not press it? Like, I know it's probably going to be dangerous and shit, but like, holy shit, I can't, I mean, you just gotta press it and you see your big red button. Come on now. unnecessary risk. Come on, let's move. For the next few hours or so, we kept following Melindra as she led us away from the river and through the thick of the forest once more. As time passed, the wind that was only a small breeze this morning began to slowly intensify while the sky was still as dark as ever. We spent most of these hours listening to some of Hardrick's and Darren's stories about their various adventures and not much else. Although one thing that I've noticed was the Melindra and Flower also seemed to be more preoccupied with their own discussion and then paying attention to our group chats.